The year was 62,140 AD, and peace ruled the stars, at least on the surface. The Zilari Dominion, one of the strongest alien powers in the Orion cluster, had grown overconfident. Their fleets were massive, their armies unmatched, and their arrogance louder than their weapons. When one of their mining ships found a strange, derelict pod drifting near the edge of a black zone, the crew almost left it alone. But then the scanners lit up. Lifeform detected. Weak, ancient, human. The captain laughed. That's impossible. They're extinct. Curious, they brought the pod on board. Scientists ran tests. Military officers watched from behind reinforced glass. The being inside looked ... ordinary. Pale skin, short hair, basic body structure, harmless. They didn't see the fire still burning behind his closed eyes. The cryopod opened with a hiss. The man inside took a deep breath, as if waking from a long nightmare. His name, Commander Elias Kane. He blinked at the strange faces around him. Blue skin, insect-like arms, eyes with no pupils. This wasn't Earth. Where am I? He asked, voice dry like dust. The aliens didn't answer. They sedated him and took him to their research base on Zareth Prime, deep inside their empire. They didn't see him as a person. He was an artifact, a mystery, a toy. They locked him in a cage of energy and steel. At first, Elias didn't speak. He watched, he listened. His memories were broken. War, fire, Earth falling, humanity scattering into deep space. And then, silence. He didn't know how long he had slept. But one thing he knew, he was not among friends every day. The Zilari came to study him. Primitive biology, they called him. Low-tech muscles, outdated brain patterns. They laughed as he sat in silence, but inside, Elias was working. Every step they took, every code they entered, every weakness in their systems, he remembered it all. Because Elias Kane wasn't just a human, he was a special operations commander, trained to adapt, survive, and destroy from within. And now he was alone, deep inside enemy territory. Perfect. Meanwhile, the Zilari Council met in grand chambers, lit by floating crystals. Tall and proud, they boasted of their newest find. A real human, said Chancellor Vecca. We could use him to boost our image. A relic from the past. A pet for our empire. Some disagreed. Whispers of the old human wars, of their machines and weapons, still lingered in old alien records, but most thought those were just stories. Humanity is gone, said Vecca, and this one, he's just one man. They didn't realize that. One man was enough. One night later, Zareth Prime containment zone alarms screamed through the facility. Guards rushed down silver hallways. Prison doors were open, systems offline, and the human gone. In just 4 hours, Elias had done the impossible. He had escaped a maximum security alien lab, taken out 12 guards without a sound, and vanished into the night with stolen data and stolen weapons. The Zilari panicked. Seal the city. He cannot leave Zarath. But Elias was already gone. He had found a hangar, a ship. Small, fast, unarmed, but he didn't need weapons yet. He only needed speed. 2 days later, far edge of Zilari space a message echoed across the stars. It was human in tone, cold, calculated. This is Commander Elias Kane of the Terran Defense Fleet. I am alive. Earth remembers, and we are coming. The galaxy froze. All the great empires received the same message. One man, one voice. The humans were supposed to be extinct. Their systems dead. Their weapons buried. But now someone had spoken. Someone who knew war, back on Earth. Unknown coordinates, deep under what was once Antarctica. Old machines hummed to life. Lights flickered on massive consoles. Screens displayed alien languages. Intercepted signals. And one image, Elias Kane status. Alive old satellites aligned. Buried AI systems booted. And then the voice of Project Revenant echoed through the underground halls. Human asset located. Initiating reactivation protocol. Prepare the fleet. The Zarn Dominion's prison World 6 was considered unbreakable. No prisoner had ever escaped, especially not a human. The guards believed humans were extinct anyway, so capturing one was like catching a ghost. But the ghost wasn't quiet. Captain. Relic stood in front of the reinforced energy cell. Behind the shimmering blue wall sat the human. Shackled, bloody, silent. I don't understand, Relic said, voice tense. You haven't eaten in 4 days. You haven't slept, and yet, you smile. The human raised his head slowly. His eyes, though bruised, were calm. I've had worse, he said softly. Relic slammed a metallic hand against the wall. Worse, you're the last of your kind. The human gave a quiet chuckle. You think I'm the last? Relic froze. The human leaned forward. We never die, we wait. Rulak turned and stormed away, but his second in command, Vora, lingered. She couldn't stop thinking about what the humans said. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Galactic Council received a strange signal. Weak, broken, but it repeated a pattern, an old human military code. Something not used in over 3,000 years. Is it a trap? One alien general asked. No, said the High Lord of Strategy. It's a message. A message. From the one human they had captured. Back in the prison, Vora entered the human cell alone. She had disabled the cameras. You're not afraid, she said. I was once, the human replied. What changed? They burned my planet, he said. And I realized fear is a waste of time. She stared at him. Your people lost. Wrong, he said. My people adapted. She frowned. You're here, alone. The human leaned back, not for long. Across the stars, deep in a dead sector, an ancient human satellite blinked to life. Dust fell from its rusted panels. Its systems powered up. A signal pulsed. Then another. Then a third dot in forgotten bunkers, sealed under asteroid crust. Sleeping A is received the call. One by one, systems began to wake. Human presence detected. Threat confirmed. Awakening protocol Titan Black. Back in prison, World 6. An alarm echoed. Through the walls, doors flickered. Energy fields sparked. Something was wrong, Relax shouted. What's happening? The power cores are failing, systems are collapsing. In the chaos, Vora ran to the human's cell. You did this, she whispered, eyes wide. The human smiled. No, we did this. She raised her weapon. I should kill you. You won't, he said calmly. You want to live. And in that moment, Vora realized she did. She disabled the lock. The door slid open. The human stood slowly, tall, silent, and deadly calm. Outside the prison, black ships, older than memory, burst from warp space. They didn't hail. They didn't broadcast peace. They simply opened fire. The Zarn fleet barely had time to raise shields. Within minutes, half of them were gone, vaporized. The ships bore no flag, no name, only a single word in old Terran script: vengeance. End of Part 2, cliffhanger. Vora and the human ran through collapsing corridors as fire spread around them. She yelled, "Who are you?" The human turned, eyes glowing with something old and terrible. "I'm not a soldier anymore," he said. "I'm..." The reminder: a black ship hovered just outside. A boarding beam activated as they vanished into the light. The prison behind them exploded. The galaxy would never forget this day. The human was free, and he wasn't alone. In the dark corners of the Trathorian prison complex, something strange was happening. The prison was located on a remote asteroid, orbiting a dying red sun. It was designed for the most dangerous beings in the galaxy, creatures that could rip holes through walls, destroy ships with their minds, or eat stars. And yet, today, it held just one new prisoner. A human, just one. No chains, no sedatives, no shock collars. Room 11A had been quiet for 3 days. Cameras showed the human sitting still in the middle of his cell, head down, breathing slow. He barely moved, he didn't speak. The guards grew bored, but then the lights flickered. Commander Sorlix of the Trathorian Guard stood before the security screens. "What is this nonsense? Why are the lights failing?" he growled. "Unknown." "Sir," said the technician, "our systems are fully charged, no solar flares. No outside interference." Sorlix narrowed his eyes. "Check the humans' room." The technician tapped a few buttons. Camera 11A came online. At first, everything looked normal. Then the human raised his head. It was a simple act, but something about it made the technician drop his tablet. The lights across the entire prison flickered again, this time, staying dim. The human stood up slowly. His eyes were glowing. Faint blue light, soft but terrifying. Guards rushed toward the human cell. "Just shock him," one said. That pressed the control button. Nothing happened. The shock system failed. The door didn't lock. The cameras showed static for 2 seconds. And when they came back, the guards were on the ground, unconscious. The human stood over them, untouched. So shouted, "Seal off the scepter." Doors slammed shut. Defense drones flew in. They fired stun beams, designed to knock out a full-grown Zelek warbeast. The human caught the first beam with his hand. No shield, no armor, just his hand, and he absorbed it. The lights dimmed even further. Then he whispered, though. No microphone was in his cell. "You took the wrong man." Across the galaxy, encrypted signals began to move through ancient channels, frequencies so old most species didn't even remember they existed, deep in the heart of an old human relay. Station forgotten, under layers of space dust, a red light blinked to life. An AI woke up. Codename: Vindicator. Signal received. Operation Exodus activated. Somewhere near Jupiter's moons, an asteroid cracked open, revealing a human stealth fleet buried beneath its surface. Ships that had been asleep for 1,000 years. Back at the prison, the human walked calmly through corridors. As alarms screamed and soldiers panicked. Trathorians were trained for war, but they had never faced this. Their weapons malfunctioned, their minds filled with static. Some heard whispers in their heads, voices speaking in Earth's old languages, languages no longer spoken even by humans themselves. "You stole one, but he remembers everything." The human walked past doors made of neutron steel. They melted around him. He paused in the central chamber of the prison. Sorlix tried to stop him. The commander pointed a plasma rifle at the human's head. "You're not going anywhere." The human looked at him and smiled. He said one word: "Return." The rifle fell to pieces in Sorlix's hands. So did the wall behind him. So did the entire prison's power grid in the outer reaches of the Galactic Council. Ambassadors and warlords received an emergency transmission. Trathorian prison for 7A is lost. One human escaped. One entire garrison gone. Weapons useless. No survivors. They stared at each other in silence. One whispered, "But humans are extinct." Another answered, "Not anymore." Meanwhile, on a small ship drifting through deep space, a young alien pilot picked up a strange signal. He didn't understand the language, but it made his bones feel cold. The message repeated, "He remembers. They all will." The chamber inside the Galactic Council was packed. Leaders from hundreds of alien species were arguing, shouting, blinking with nervous antennae, or whispering in secret tones. High Overlord Yalving raised his many-fingered hand. The room fell. "Quiet. We received a message," he said, his voice shaking slightly, "from the dark sector." Everyone turned silent. That part of space was blacklisted long ago. Ships went there and never returned. No light, no signals, no energy, just emptiness. "No one lives there," hissed a snake-like being from the Varnak Empire. "It's a dead zone." But Yalvin's eyes stayed locked on the screen. "And yet, ... we have this." He pressed a button. A recording played. The voice was clear, strong, and unmistakably human. "This is Captain Elias Ward," returned the human, "or your stars will go out." Gasps filled the chamber. That name, that voice. "It couldn't be. He's dead," whispered one of the council members. Elias Ward vanished 1,000 years ago. Others backed away from the screen, as if it might explode. But the message wasn't done. "You thought he was alone. You thought wrong." Then silence. Meanwhile, in the alien research facility, Juno sat still in his cell. He no longer felt fear. His body had been tested, scanned, and tortured, but his mind had not broken. The guards had stopped talking to him days ago. He didn't care. He was waiting. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The entire facility shook. Distant alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed across the walls. A voice echoed through the halls. But it wasn't alien. It was human. "Subject Juno extraction in progress." The guards rushed to his cell. Blasters raised. But then something strange happened. Every weapon melted, literally turned into liquid metal. One by one, the aliens screamed in pain, grabbing their heads and falling to the floor. Juno stood. A white light appeared in the middle of the room, and from it stepped Elias Ward. But he wasn't old. He wasn't dead. He looked the same as he had in Earth's final war 1,000 years ago. He walked toward Juno and nodded. "You're not alone anymore." Juno stared in disbelief. "But how?" Ward smiled. "They shouldn't have taken you." Back on the Galactic Council's war room, panic had replaced order. News was coming in fast from all corners of the galaxy. A Varnak warship had been split in half near the dead sector. A mining colony had disappeared, just gone. No trace left. A fleet of drones had appeared near Zeta Prime and vanished just as quickly after destroying a navy in seconds. The galaxy was no longer calm. It was afraid. And then the second message arrived. You took one of us. Now we take back more. Prepare. Scene cut. Inside the human Ark, Juno sat inside a strange, massive control room. It wasn't just a ship. It was like a floating city. Thousands of machines moved around. Weapons, systems, shields, teleportation nodes, time warp engines. This is Project Echo, Elias explained. We built it in the final years of Earth. A hidden system, a failsafe, meant for one thing: revenge. Juno looked at him. Why? Now Ward's expression darkened, because now they touched a human again. And that was the last mistake they'll ever make. The skies above the Darnek Prime system shimmered with strange energy. At first, no one noticed. The aliens were too busy celebrating. On every screen, the footage played again and again, the capture of the last human, the galaxy's most hunted species, finally caught. Admiral Kor stood proudly at the center of the High Command. His long fingers tapped against the glowing control panel as holograms floated around him. No distress signal, no attempt at retaliation, one officer said. Humans really are extinct. Kor laughed, sharp and loud. They always believed they were special. But in the end, they died like all the rest. Sir, another voice interrupted. Something strange is happening in the outer belt. Energy signatures, unknown. Kor turned, annoyed. It's probably a storm. Ignore it. But it wasn't a storm. Above the dead moons of Darnak, space twisted, not exploded, not cracked, twisted. And from that dark spiral, a shape emerged. Black, massive, silent. No lights, no engines, no signal, just presence. It floated like a tombstone, drifting toward Darnak Prime, ignoring all defenses, all hails. What is that? A panicked technician shouted. It's not responding. It's just sitting there, another said. But it's looking at us. Kor's smile faded. Put visuals on the main screen. The command center fell silent. There it was, a ship, but not one they recognized. It had no clear engines, no known structure. Its form kept shifting, sometimes long and narrow, sometimes wide and terrifying. And across its dark surface, faint red lines pulsed like veins, like something alive. Then came the message, not spoken, not sent. It appeared inside their minds. Return the human. Everyone screamed. Some fell to the floor, clutching their heads. It wasn't a request. It was a command. The ship outside did not move. But now, every weapon system on Darnek Prime began to shut down. Every satellite went dark. The sky dimmed. It's hacking us, someone whispered. No, another said, shaking. It's thinking us. Kor shouted, raise the shields, activate the planetary gun. But it was too late. The gun never fired. It bent. In full view of everyone, the massive planetary cannon curled like paper, then folded inward until it vanished into a single black spot. A second later, it was gone, as if it never existed. Kor gasped. This can't be real. From orbit, the unknown ship slowly turned. The red lines across its hull now pulsed faster, angrier. Then something happened that no one expected. From the ship's belly, a door opened, and something was dropped. A small object. It hit the ground, just outside the capital. No explosion, no wave, just silence, until the object cracked, and out stepped a human. It was him, the one they took. But something was different now. His eyes glowed with the same red as the ship above. His steps were heavy, calm, controlled. Behind him, the ground burned in a perfect circle. The crowd of aliens, news reporters, guards, all stared in disbelief. Kor's voice shook. What did we bring back? The human looked up, not at the crowd, not at the cameras, at the sky, at the alien council ship, at them. And then he smiled. Not a human smile, but something else. We gave you one chance, he said. And every star in the sky flickered. The unknown ship slowly closed its door, and hundreds of new lights appeared behind it. Ships of the same kind coming through the twisting dark. One human had returned, but he didn't come alone. To be continued in Part 6. The chamber shook. Commander Valdrix of the Zarn Dominion stood in front of the observation glass, watching the human below. His yellow eyes narrowed. How is he still standing? Valdrix growled. No food, no water, 40 cycles in isolation. No rest. The guards beside him said nothing. They had seen the human rise again and again, bleeding, broken, but standing. His name was Elias Kale, and the Zarn Empire had made one terrible mistake. They thought he was just a soldier. He was something else. The chamber leader stood in the middle of a white room. Chains wrapped around his arms and legs. His face was bruised, lips cracked. He hadn't spoken in days, but his eyes, they burned like twin suns. He stared at the wall, not at the guards, not at the cameras. The wall behind that wall, he knew. Something waited. A voice echoed through hidden speakers. Human, your world has fallen. You are alone. Speak. Silence, then a crackling sound. Suddenly, the chains around Elias shimmered, then unlocked. One by one, the heavy locks released, falling to the ground with a loud metallic thud. From behind the observation glass, alarms began to flash. What is happening? Valdrix shouted. Who gave the override code? No one did. A technician screamed. It's coming from the inside. The human's body is emitting a strange energy. The truth revealed. Elias took one step forward. The floor cracked beneath him. His breath became heavy. The white room now seemed darker, colder inside his chest. Something had awakened. Project Titan, years ago. Earth had prepared a secret weaponer, failsafe. A genetic override hidden deep in the DNA of select humans. They were rare, hidden. Only a few even knew they existed. Elias was one of them. The moment his body had sensed death was near, the protocol activated. Now, the galaxy would face what Earth had built in silence. The first strike too. Zarn guards rushed into the chamber. Elias raised his hand. With no weapons, no armor, he simply moved his fingers. The guards stopped mid-step and collapsed. Their armor crushed, their bodies frozen in place. Outside, Valdrix stared in horror. He doesn't have a weapon, one of his officers whispered. He is the weapon. Elias turned toward the observation window, and for the first time he spoke. Hurt my people. Then the glass shattered without him touching it. The escapee Elias moved like lightning. Down the halls of the prison station, Zarn soldiers opened fire, but the blasts simply bounced off an invisible shield around him. No one could stop him. He didn't scream. He didn't speak again. He was cold, calm, focused. One by one. He disabled control rooms, engines, reactor, cores. But he wasn't running away. He was sending a message. He stood in the center of the communications room. Lights flashed. Sparks flew, but the camera above him was still working, transmitting across the stars. He stared into it. Elias Kale, human, prisoner, no more. His voice was heard across 7 sectors. Let them come. The shockwave across the galaxy at the Galactic Council. Hundreds of alien species watched the feed. Some froze. Some panicked. The Kothari general stood up. How did the humans build such a thing? The Yuvan ambassador whispered, they didn't build him, they became him. Every race that had laughed at humans now sat in silence. One man, one human had just escaped the most secure prison in the known galaxy, without help, without weapons, and now he was heading somewhere, back to Earth, to war. No one knew, but the signal was clear. Humanity was not finished. The final moment back on the Zaan station, alarms wailed. Elias stood at the hangar bay, looking at the ships. He chose one, a small Zaan vessel, simple, fast. As he stepped aboard, the computer activated automatically. Welcome, unknown user. He didn't answer. Instead, he sat in the pilot's seat and stared into space. Set course, he whispered, for home. And then, he was gone. The alien flagship loomed above the battlefield like a dark god, its metal skin crackling with energy. Around it, hundreds of alien warships gathered. They had learned from their earlier defeats. This time, they came prepared. They thought they knew the human threat. They believed one human couldn't stand against an entire fleet. They were wrong inside. The stolen lab, where the aliens had once held their only human captive, alarms blared. Energy readings were off the scale. The structure itself trembled, even though it was miles underground. Scientists shouted and ran for shelter. They had tried to unlock the human's power, to use it, but they never understood what they had taken. Now it was waking up. A wave of pressure burst through the atmosphere. Birds scattered, clouds twisted. And then it appeared. From orbit, the alien commanders saw a blinding light tear through their sensors. A ship, no, a being grows into the sky. But it wasn't any machine they knew. It pulsed like a living star, wrapped in ancient metal, at its center. The human, he wasn't the same man they had captured. Now he moved like lightning. He struck their ships before their weapons could lock. Each blow shattered hulls and melted engines. One moment he was above them, the next behind. The flagship fired all its cannons, but the beams curved around him, bending away as if space itself obeyed him. On the bridge of the alien flagship, High Commander Zarek roared in frustration. This is not possible. One human cannot do this. But, even as he spoke, the ship's AI screamed a warning. Unknown anomaly detected. Gravity reversing. Energy unstable. Then, silence. The flagship's systems died. The lights faded. Gravity twisted. Crew floated helplessly as the command deck bent inward, approaching figure glowing with power. The human had arrived. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. With a single gesture, he tore open the hull like paper. Zarek floated there, frozen in fear. The last thing he saw was the human's eyes burning like twin stars. And then, darkness. The galaxy watched in real time. Thousands of alien ships, satellites, and hidden transmitters had captured the moment. Every race saw it. Every council heard the silence that followed. One human had destroyed the supreme fleet. One human had walked into their strongest defense and erased it. And now, across the stars, fear spread like wildfire, because no one knew where he would go next. No one knew what he had become. and no one, not even the bravest empire, dared to speak the words out loud. He's not human anymore. The galaxy was silent. Planets that once mocked Earth now darkened their skies in fear. Empires that once laughed at humanity now held emergency meetings in hidden chambers. The footage of one human destroying an entire alien fleet had spread across every corner of the known universe. But Earth said nothing. No reply, no message, no warning. And that silence was louder than any war cry. In the cold void beyond the rim systems, massive fleets were now abandoning their positions. Colonies went dark. Borders were pulled back. Whole civilizations, once arrogant now, prayed they had not been noticed. In the shadows of a shattered moon, a group of ancient beings, the Watchers of Time, gathered. These beings had existed before the first suns. They had seen stars born and die, and now, for the first time in billions of years, they were afraid. One of them whispered in a voice that cracked reality itself, "The human has awakened." They knew what it meant. The human was not just a survivor. He had become something more, something older, something that had been buried in humanity's DNA for eons, waiting. The stolen experiments had unlocked it. The torture had unleashed it, and now the universe would pay the price. On the ruined surface of the alien homeworld, survivors crawled. From the ashes, their cities were gone. Their armies were no more. And in the skies above, the human floated, still, silent, watching. But he did not attack again. He turned and left. One jump, one breath, and he vanished. Back on Earth, the old mountain command center flickered to life for the first time in hundreds of years. Lights glowed, systems rebooted. Deep under the crust, massive structures began to hum. Something ancient. Human had sensed the signal. He was coming home. The old warships beneath Earth's oceans shifted. Satellite arrays turned their gaze outward. A message prepared itself, something simple, clear, and final. And in that moment, across 1,000 star systems, the final message appeared on every screen, in every language, on every world. He remembers. The empires of the galaxy shivered, because the last time a human remembered, a galaxy burned.